All right, everyone. Well, this week I thought we would take a break from the movies. Since the big summer movie series is kind of coming to a close, I will be referencing, films and movies in the coming months here and there. But we're just going to get back to doing some regular stuff, regular design stuff. And this week we're going to do something with regard to football. It's football season's about to start back up. I'm very excited because it seems like there's been a lot of boring stuff on TV, but I saw an ad for the NFL Network in a magazine recently, and I thought it was a very cool way of using one or even a couple or three photographs to create a very interesting design. And in this case, we're going to use one photograph because I thought it was a very cool way to use this one photograph to create multiple instances of the image to create an overall design layout. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start with our background. Here I've gone ahead and created a layout, and I've gone ahead and filled it with a black background. So now what I want to do is on that same layer, I'm not going to create a new blank layer. I want to go over here in my toolbar, and inside the shape tools, we want to grab the line tool right here. And what I want to do, let's go ahead and turn on my rulers just so I can see what's going on here. And up here in the options bar for the line tool, you're going to look up here and you're going to see the weight of the line. And here I want to enter 2 pixels, which is what it's set for. If you just draw a line there, we can see that. But I do want to make sure that we're drawing it with white. See, white is not set as my foreground color. Just simply click this little bent arrow in my toolbar, and there we have it. So now I can draw the line. So now what I want to do is basically draw lines to divide this layout into a number of different size blocks. So we're going to start right up here in this top area. Let's take this and perhaps we'll just start at the very top here. I'm going to start around the 250 mark. At the very top of the image, I'm just going to hold my shift key and just drag down, straight down the length of the image. So we get a nice line dividing that area there. Well, next thing is I'm going to take this and create another block here. I'm going to start over here on the right side, again holding down my shift key and then dragging to the left. And we'll just let these lines touch and it will create a new box there. And let's create another one right underneath that. Just a little ways down, we'll create another block there. And I think up here I'm going to create a little block based on this line here. In fact, I probably should have discontinued this one all the way across, but that's okay. We'll just start again right here. At this point here, again, hold down the shift key and just drag the line across. So we've divided our image up into these various blocks, all on this layer, which allows me to take my magic wand tool and generate a selection inside of each one of these blocks. So this is where our image comes into play. Well, we're going to first take the entire image, and let's go into the Edit menu, or rather go under the Select menu here and choose All. You can do a Command or Control A, and it will select the entire document. Go under the Edit menu, go to Copy, and we'll jump back over to our working design, and I'm going to click inside of this topmost box here to generate a selection of that inside area. Then go into the Edit menu and go down here and choose Paste Into. And what that does is you can see it created a new layer and a layer mask based on that selection and placed that image in there. Problem is it's really big, so I'm going to zoom out here. I'm going to Option Command and hit my minus key, and it'll be Alt Control on Windows. Zoom this way out there, and I'm going to press Command T to bring up the free transform. And you can see that image is huge, so let's go and scale this in so it fits a little bit better inside that box. And there we go. So let's nudge that down so we can see all of the image in there. There we go. Now I want to add other elements to the various other parts of the image. Well, in this area right down here, let's reselect that background layer and click inside this long tall box here. And we're going to go over to this image, and what I want to grab is another area of this. We're going to isolate this to a more specific area, in which I'm going to grab this area here with his arm holding the ball and everything like that. And again, go down to Edit, Copy, jump over to this image, and again we're going to do that same thing. Go under Edit, Paste Into, and it puts it in that selection on its own layer with a layer mask. You'll notice the layer mask is not attached to the image. Ordinarily it would have this little icon here which chain links it to it, but it's unchecked, meaning we can move the image around freely and the mask stays put. So let's zoom this out, and again, like we did a moment ago, let's scale this image in, and you'll notice that I am working with a high-res image, and that is what you want to do because we're going to be using or focusing in on various parts of the image here, as you can see. So the higher the res image, the better the quality is going to be when it's up close like that. So let's take this and nudge it down so we can see him holding the ball and everything looks good there. And let's move on to another image. So reselect that background layer. Let's grab our magic wand. And again, we're going to select this block here. And for that one, we're going to get a close-up of his face here. Let's grab this area here. And again, go down here to copy. Jump over there, and again, we're going to do paste into. And we can nudge that around. I'm also going to go over here and go to the edit menu and just give us, to make this look a little bit more different, even though it's the same image, I'm going to go to the transform and choose flip horizontal. So now he's kind of facing the other way, and it almost gives that impression that it is a different image, even though we're using the exact same image, just cutting it up and focusing in on various aspects of it. So we've got all that mess going on. Let's add a couple more elements to this. I'm going to go in this area here and use my magic wand tool again to click that selection there. Now let's go ahead and create a new blank layer. And we'll go into the filter. Actually, let's go in here and fill this. I'm going to press Shift Delete and go ahead and fill this with 50% gray. And then I'm going to go under the filter menu, and on that gray layer, let's go to Sketch and choose Halftone Pattern. Inside here, we're going to set the size to around, let's do around 3 rather. And the contrast to 0, and make sure that the pattern type is to dot. So we'll go ahead and click OK. I'm going to press Command T, or no rather, let's go to Command L to bring up our levels. You can just go into the image menu, go to Adjustments, and choose Levels. I'm going to bump up that contrast so it looks just like a little kind of a dot pattern going on in there. That's kind of cool. And I'm going to go ahead and drop that opacity down on this. Let's do about 50%. And here's one thing. The grid looks good, except I want it to be at an angle. So here's what I want to do. I want to clip this inside of another shape. So what I'm going to do is hold down the Command key and click on that layer and load it as a selection area. You can see that shape is now selected. Command click the new layer icon and it'll pop a new layer underneath. Now I'm going to go ahead and do another fill. Let's do Shift Delete and fill this with 50% gray, or rather let's do it with black. So let's fill it with black, and I just did a Command Delete since black is set as my background color there. And let's reselect that layer and clip it inside of that layer we've got above it. So I'm going to hold down my Option key, Alt on Windows, and click in between those layers and clip it inside. Now we can go in here, and I'm just going to press Command T, and let's go into the menu here. I'm just going to hold down my Control key and access this window and go to Distort. And now we can distort this inside of that clipping group to give it a little bit of perspective there. Gives me a little bit of an interesting angle. So let's take that opacity of that down a little bit more. So there we go. So it's giving me a little interesting kind of graphical look inside that box. Let's add one more element to this big box down here. We're actually going to use a different image this time. And this is the one time we're going to use a different image altogether. And I have an image of a football field here. So we're going to do the very same thing as we did before. Go under Edit. Or you got to do a Select All first. So we'll do a Command A, Control A on Windows, or simply go into the Select menu and choose All. Under the Edit menu once more, go to Copy. Back over to this image. That image is, or that selection is still active, so let's go under Edit, Paste Into. And it positions that image in that inside there. We can reposition this right about there, perhaps. And I'm going to select on that layer mask. We've already got a layer mask active here. Let's grab that gradient tool. With the foreground to transparent, we're just going to take this and just hold down a Shift key and drag down. And that gives us a little bit of dimension there. And then finally, we just add a little bit of text. And there we have a very cool design based on that magazine ad. So it's an interesting way of building, blocking off the image or blocking off your layout into various quadrants or sections or various size blocks, and then pasting that image in there, getting creative with one high-res image and using various parts to emphasize throughout the layout.